try to look at the long term, goal as opposed to just, hey, I've invested this time and money.
Welcome to Honest E-Commerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest E-Commerce. I am your host, Chase Clymer. Today, we're welcoming to the show a very, very brilliant gentleman. Ian Leslie is the CMO at US Housewares brands Industry West and Flavor. His journey has spanned almost a decade now. He's done some pretty incredible things with both those brands. So welcome to the show today, Ian. How you doing?
Hey man, good. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to get in and talk about all this cool stuff. But I think we should tease the audience a bit and talk about how, I guess, perhaps you ended up on my radar, which was kind of like a secret sale that had some pretty cool results. So let's tease them a bit. Let's not give it all away. Make them wait a bit.
All right.
What was that all about?
We were running a warehouse sale, spun up a new site for a warehouse sale. We've done it in the past. This was our first attempt at running like a PWA headless site for it. And we were doing a friends and family thing, kind of early access for the first weekend. And I got a little antsy and decided, I wanted to go broader than friends and family to our own audience. So I spun up a little kind of ad hoc thing, and it led to crazy weekend. Lots of pings of the site and the sales, and I guess you don't want to give it all away. So I guess what do they say? We'll find out the rest of the story after the break, I guess, or whatever.
Awesome. So you've been at Industry West now for over 10 years. Take me back to, I guess, right before that. Kind of what's your career journey been like, and how'd you end up there?
Yeah, so actually Industry West is about 10 years old, 11 years old. This is our 10-year anniversary, actually, right around this month. And I've been there for 5-6 years. Prior to that, I was with Savannah College of Art and Design. I was leading their interactive marketing team, so basically all web, email, social, digital properties as it related to lead generation for high school students, trying to get high schoolers to raise their hand and say they wanted to attend the university. And I was actually out of school. I was a journalist, and then kind of got out of print journalism as that dinosaur started to die. I've known Industry West since its inception. Worked with one of its co-founders, Jordan England, at a prior gig. And he and I got to know each other. He went off to he founded Industry West, and I went to work at SCAD. And then about 5 years after it was founded, joined back up with him. Company's founded by he and his wife, and totally bootstrapped company. And then, like you mentioned, we've since spun off a sister brand called Favor, where we sell a lot of accessories, home decor items, lower AOV. But yeah. So that's me. That's the brand in a nutshell.
Awesome. So when you were first kind of offered the job over at Industry West, what was the position? What were you trying to help them out with?
Yeah. So I was leaving SCAD, and I was so Industry West is based in Florida. I live in coastal South Carolina, and wasn't wanting to move, but had a good relationship with Jordan, and so we thought we'd try it on a contract basis. So I was sort of offering fractional CMO services. So I was on a contract basis with them, and then was working a few other small gigs, doing some digital consultation for Gamut Media, which is a Cox property up north. And then a few other just small social media projects. So I was doing that basically. So I was basically an outsourced CMO for the company for the first year, and that first year was just a lot of kind of getting best practice email campaigns in place, tearing down the SEM and rebuilding it with a new agency, and just kind of getting some stuff to best practice. Industry West had succeeded despite not having a lot of that best practice stuff in place in the first 5 years on the digital side. So yeah, that was the first year there. Then after the first year, we realized things were working well remotely, and I came on full time as a full time employee. The only thing that really changed was I got benefits.
Yeah, that's crucial these days.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
When you started working with Industry West, even as a consultant or a contractor, however you want to spin that term, where were they at in their business journey? You can share as much or as little as you can.
Yeah, so I mean, we were very trade focused at the time. So I say B2B, and I always like to define that as not wholesale, but rather interior designers, coffee shops, mom and pop pizza, bars, restaurants, and then from that all the way to internal or external procurement for, say, Facebook HQ or Airbnb HQ or a food court at Yankee Stadium or Atlanta Hartsfield food court. So which we've have furnished all of those. So the first 5 years, they were very heavy into that. It was when I started that we definitely started to expand the actual e-commerce sales, even though we've always been e-commerce. An overwhelming majority of the sales had actually gone through sales reps, like the trade calling or emailing in and wanting a quote and then transacting offline. So when I started, it was, definitely the hockey stick of growth in terms of like actually getting people to transact online. And some of that being the B2B side, but expanding the consumer side. And then in the last year with COVID, I mean, the consumer side and the e-commerce side has just exploded to the point where when I started, I mean, we were looking at e-commerce. Well, once I got kind of e-commerce up and running, we were looking at it, accounting for in the neighborhood of 20 or 25% of monthly revenue. Whereas now we're looking at e-commerce accounting for in the neighborhood of 50 to 55% of revenue.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when you took the job and then now you're working full time and you are coming in and you're taking a look at things, you're trying to put in best practices in place. You mentioned that you had kind of consulted around for a bit of at some other things. Is that kind of something that you find happens to most brands? Kind of as they're growing, they get to a certain point. I guess what I'm saying is, from my perspective, I find brands that have kind of like hit that, they've gone from 0 to 1, they've found product market fit. And when you get someone in place that kind of knows what they're doing, helping them get those best practices, just the trajectory and the growth just kind of just spins up really fast because they have all this other stuff already in place, which is super helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was, I know Jordan, like I knew the company, I knew the founders and I liked them. And I love them. They're some of my best friends and, love the product, but it was the fact that it was succeeding as well as it was, despite the fact that a lot of those best practices weren't in place, where I kind of jumped at the opportunity.
It's exciting.
Yeah, exactly. So like we talk a lot about, could this company happen today? Like, and I don't know that it could. But I mean, Jordan just it's a bootstrap company. In the first 5 years, Jordan just grinded, and a lot of it was word of mouth, and a lot of it was the fact that we were a company that stocked furniture. And if a story that we always tell is that in the first couple of years, there was a burger joint in Pittsburgh that needed 50 bar stools or 75 bar stools, and Jordan rented the U-Haul and packed it up and drove the U-Haul from Jacksonville, Florida up to Pittsburgh and delivered the bar stools himself. And then when you have service like that and from the owner of the company, word of mouth travels. And, so then it was, okay, well, we have this great consumer base or trade base. How do we build up a consumer base? And so it was starting to build up, all those other best practices. And then for me, and I kind of blogged about this years ago, it was that initial hockey stick of, okay, now we're doing email, our SEM is actually working, and we're doing some social advertising. Okay, so you get that initial hockey stick, but then how do you sustain it, right? And I think what we saw was, we saw my first year, we saw that hockey stick of growth. Then maybe years 3, 4, we were growing, but not at the same clip. And now year 5, particularly on the e-commerce side, it's crazy. Typically year over year, for any given month, I mean, we're reaching the previous year's total like within the first 15, 17 days of a month. So so the growth is crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think you put those practices in place and you see the initial hockey stick of growth, and then it's a matter of, okay, what can you do next to sustain that or to continue to grow?
Absolutely. So I guess let's talk about what you did next. So obviously you mentioned earlier you're a big fan of owned marketing. Could you kind of break down what the stack looks like these days, how you guys are acquiring new customers, how you're keeping how you're keeping customers happy, just kind of like what that journey might look like?
Yeah, I mean, when I started, we were pretty heavy into like our Google advertising. I'd say an overwhelming majority of our budget went to, search, display, shopping. Started to do a little bit more social advertising. And then, I mean, I think and then over the past year, I mean, we've really divested a ton from Google. I mean, other than Google Shopping, we're not on Google much at all in terms of new customer acquisition. We do a ton on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. And then we're doing a lot of influencer stuff. And then we're also, really having great success in doing, a lot of white label advertising through some publisher networks and some partner, some partner magazines and sites like Elle Decor or Architectural Digest or that sort of thing, and using those channels as a platform. And then, I mean, I think, and then, I mean, I think we find that we're an aspirational brand to an extent. So a lot of the times we'll collect a new customer contact, and it'll take them a bit of time, or waiting for a sale or something before they'll order. So continuing to kind of email them and just be top of mind for them, whether it's through retargeting or through emails. But yeah, I mean, I think more than ever, and also more so now with the economy as it is, and post COVID, I mean, I think we've been more invested in print the past year than we have probably in all my years prior, and I think that's just because there's some value there due to the economy. So I mean, I think that's where we're at there.
If you're struggling with scaling your sales, maybe Electric Eye can help. Our team has helped our clients generate millions of dollars in additional revenue through our unique brand scaling framework. You can learn more about our agency at electriceye.io. That's ELECTRICEYE.io. Mesa is the easiest way to integrate any top e-commerce app or service with your online store. Designed exclusively for the Shopify ecosystem, yes, that includes Plus, Mesa's automated workflows can get back your time spent on repetitive tasks while growing your business all at the same time. Join other merchants that have embraced the simplicity of Mesa's no-code approach to building workflows. You can create new ways to improve customer engagement, encourage repeat purchases without lifting a finger, reduce manual data entry, and much more through a simple point-and-click interface. And with Black Friday, Cyber Monday planning around the corner, now is the time to ask the question, is my online store prepared? Optimizing every step in the shopping experience the only way to create a lifelong customer. Get Mesa and capitalize on one of the biggest commerce events of the year. Visit getmesa.com/honest for a 14-day free trial. That's getmesa.com/honest. Our partner Rewind can protect your Shopify store with automated backups of your most important data. Rewind should be the first app you install to protect your store against human error, misbehaving apps, or collaborators gone bad. It's like having your very own magic undo button. Trusted by over 80,000 businesses, from side hustles to the biggest online retailers like Gymshark, Gatorade, and Movement Watches. Best of all, merchants like you can get 1 month of automated Shopify backups for free by visiting rewind.io/honest. That's rewind.io/honest. Hey everybody, do you want to win back valuable lost time for your support team? Gorgias has machine learning functionality that takes the pressure off small support teams and gives them the tools to manage a large number of inquiries at scale, especially during the holiday season. Gorgias combines all your different communication channels like email, SMS, social media, live chat, and even phone into one platform and gives you an organized view of all of your customer inquiries. Their powerful functionality can save your support team hours per day and makes managing customer orders a breeze. They have allowed online merchants to close tickets faster than ever with the help of pre-written responses integrated with customer data to increase the overall efficiency of customer support. Their built-in automations also free up time for support agents to give better answers to complex product-related questions, providing next-level support, which helps increase sales, brand loyalty, and recognition. Eric Brandholtz, the founder of Beard Brand, says, "We're a 7-figure business, and we have essentially one person on customer support and experience. It's impossible to do it without tools like Gorgias to help us innovate." Learn how to level up your customer support by speaking to their team here. Visit gorgias.grsm.io/honest. That's gorgias.grsm.io/honest. Businesses are the most successful when they own their own data, customer relationships, and their growth. That's why more than 50,000 e-commerce brands, big and small, trust Klaviyo to deliver their ideal customer experience. Klaviyo is the ultimate e-commerce marketing platform for online brands of all kinds and all sizes. With email automation, SMS marketing, list growth tools, and more, you'll get everything you need to build strong relationships that keep your customers coming back. If you're tired of relying too heavily on paid advertising or third-party marketplaces for your sales success, you're not alone. It's time to take back control of the customer experience. More and more online businesses are moving to Klaviyo to grow higher value customer relationships through personalized email and SMS marketing, and the results are staggering. Ready to drive future sales and higher customer lifetime value with a marketing platform built for your long-term growth? You should get a free trial of Klaviyo over at klaviyo.com/honest. That's KLAVIYO.com/HONEST. Could you talk a little bit more about how you are okay with, just acquiring an email and not necessarily getting the sale right off the rip, and having a longer sales cycle? As what I'm going to say, a lot of your offering is more on the luxury side of things.
Yeah, I mean, so our AOV is generally in the neighborhood of $900 to $1,100. So I mean, that's not a spontaneous purchase. So I mean, we typically see a 2 to 4 week shopping cycle before someone will actually transact. So I mean. So I think we're constantly filling the funnel with with a new audience and awareness play, and being deliberate in terms of targeting. And we target our ads and on where the person is, whether it's mid, top, bottom funnel. And so I mean, we are a bootstrapped company, and so I can't afford 6-month, 9-month awareness plays. So everything has to transact relatively soon. But I mean, it's cyclical, and I think we have an understanding that you need a couple of days or a couple of weeks before you're going to decide to place an order for a $2,500 sofa, online. So that's totally understood. So I mean, I think we have a pretty good understanding of daily traffic and daily carts and daily volume of carts, and knowing okay, these carts will end up converting, within X amount of days or whatever. And as long as we're seeing the traffic volume and the cart volume, we feel pretty good that the checkouts are going to be there within a certain amount of time.
Absolutely. And then I'm assuming that you are reaching out to these new emails through whatever email software you're using, and just really educating them about the products and the benefits and the values of shopping at Industry West.
Yeah, I mean, we're continuing to educate them. We're a lot of emails, a lot of UGC. We're doing some UGC ads, and yeah, just trying to, like I said, stay front of mind, depending on where they are on the funnel.
Awesome. And now, before we get into the big win of the last couple of months, is there anything that comes to mind in your experience in the last decade that is, that was perhaps the opposite side of the spectrum, maybe a mistake that you guys have made that you try to let the audience know, hey, you probably shouldn't try this because we did and it wasn't the best?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was like any major faux pas, but I mean, I think like one thing I always kind of look at is with our trade audience, we were trying to like kind of recreate the wheel to an extent and allow them to build a mood board that they could then share with their own clients and get approval of through our website as sort of a sourcing platform as opposed to just like a pure e-commerce platform. And that really didn't resonate. The interior design community didn't use it. So basically, like we had just revamped like Magento's wish list program and created it more into like a lookbook. I forgot what exactly what we even called it, but yeah, you know, we were hoping interior designers would like add 5 or 6 chairs and then send that to their clients and said, I found these amazing chairs on Suez. Which one do you like? And can I source for you? And it just didn't really resonate. So and we spent a decent amount of money kind of creating that functionality on the site, and it just sort of bonked. And I'm always one to like, I mean, I'm always one to, I hate the phrase fail fast, but I mean, I also am always willing to pilot something. So, I mean, I think there are plenty of times I've piloted things that didn't work out. But thankfully, I haven't been, canceled on Twitter or anything yet for something that really went wrong.
I mean, I think that's this part of marketing is you're going to try a lot of different things, but the ones that win are going to offset the ones that didn't.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, rising tide lifts all boats and all that jazz. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, if like we're seeing growth and we're seeing, the numbers, top and bottom line numbers work out, right? Like it's all good. I think it's just, not being too proud to cut your losses, whether it's, an initiative, a marketing campaign, a piece of software, or whatever it may be. Try to look at the long-term, goal as opposed to just, hey, I've invested this time and money.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you are built on Magento. Obviously, Shopify is a big player in the space these days. But these are just tools, right? So it doesn't really, at the end of the day, any tool can kind of serve the purpose that you need. So I guess what was the reasoning behind moving forward with Magento?
Yeah, I mean, we were on Magento community / open source before I started. Originally the site was a Drupal site, got moved to Magento, and then I was with the company for a year or two, and we knew open source was sunsetting in terms of security patches, etc. So we had to decide, did we want to redesign, rebuild on Enterprise Commerce Cloud, or did we want to move over to Shopify? At the time, Shopify Plus wasn't what it is now. But even if it was, I think we still would have made this decision. I mean, really, it was a lot of it was what we wanted to do on the site, but also a lot of it was just the complexity of our SKUs, a lot of configurables, a lot of kits. Just selling furniture is a lot different than selling sneakers or selling t-shirts. So I think just Magento in terms of the complexity of our SKUs and the complexity of tying into like our ERP was just the right move. And then since then, I mean, I think it's paid tons of dividends because we're currently running 3, soon to be 4 websites from the same Magento instance, and that doesn't include when we were running a POS, we were running it out of Magento as well. So I mean, basically, I like to say we're not, we have a platform now, right? Like, so we've built a platform, our own platform through Magento, as opposed to like running these disparate websites.
Absolutely, and that makes sense to me. Magento is extremely powerful, and it does have its place in kind of the ecosystem. And I agree with you, the configurability of that and the high SKU counts, like oftentimes Magento is always going to win out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of give the people what they have been waiting around the last 20 minutes for. Let's talk about the insider sale and how that worked out for you.
Yeah. So like I said, we're running this warehouse sale. We've run it before. This is the first time we kind of hacked the website together in the past. This time we did a PWA install of our Magento installation. So this is now our 3rd website in addition to our www site and Favor. And it was a big deal. Like the launch was a big deal again because we were doing this PWA and there's a lot that came with that. And so we were like, hey, let's just soft launch it to some friends and family. So we sent an email out on Friday. Adobe actually got the email, so they sent it out to like all of Adobe. So it was like already not going to be quite friends and family. And then Friday, Saturday, some point late Friday, early Saturday, I was like, you know what? I want to, I just want to sell it all now. So I went on my notes app on my phone, my iPhone, and I just kind of wrote out this note as if like I was like I was gonna like send this note to my team of like, hey, let's keep this behind a password, and like warehouse sale about to launch, let's keep it behind a password, because it blew up last time and everything went so quickly, but we'll open to the public like, and it was like the date was like a week from then, and I posted that on our Industry West Instagram account, and it kind of made it look like it was a mistake, right? Like I hadn't meant to post the website and the password. And I mean, man, it just like it blew up from there. I mean, I think we did like $500,000 or something like that in 48 hours. I mean, it was insane. And I think just that whole like kind of exclusivity and FOMO and like, oh my gosh, like they messed up and they didn't mean to post this, and like I hop on this opportunity. And I think and I think people like also saw it for what it was, which was just sort of like kind of a gimmick. But it worked out really well. We just killed it. We just destroyed our previous warehouse sale numbers, and thankfully the site held up, even though I told everyone we were going to kind of soft launch it, but the soft launch became like the launch. And yeah, and I mean, for me, like the inspiration of that was, and some people have asked me before, but just like, I'd seen a lot of people, a lot of celebrities using their iPhone Notes app as like a way just to write messages to their community and post it on Instagram. And like the Notes app has become sort of stationary of the generation, or at least of the moment. So I was like, hey, let's just put it on the Notes app. It doesn't have to look, pretty and glossy. Like, let's just put it out there, and it worked.
Oh no, yeah, it worked fantastic, and it was super cool idea. And I'm sure that there's going to be a few imitators out there pulling some inspiration from the success that you saw. Is there anything that I forgot to ask you about today that you think would be worthwhile to share with our audience?
No, I mean, I just think like I always like to point out again, like we are a bootstrap company, and I think more and more we've been giving thought to the fact of like, could this company, if started today, succeed to the extent that it has? And I don't know that it could. I think it's such a crowded vertical, and D2C brands are just starting up left and right, and the cost of acquisition is so high. I think it would be very difficult to do this today or start it from day one today. And I think I do think the bootstrap narrative kind of gets underplayed across all verticals, not just our story, but really all stories. So I mean, I think that's really important. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been a great ride. I think there's still so much runway. I mean, I'm not too proud to say that like I could walk down the street and ask 100 people if they've heard of Industry West, and I would imagine 99 haven't. So it just tells me there's a ton of opportunity there, and looking forward to get them all learning about us.
Absolutely. Ian, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. I can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own business. You can find all the links in the show notes. Make sure you head over to honestecommerce.co to check out all of the other amazing content that we have. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and obviously, if you're thinking about growing your business, check out our agency at electriceye.io. Until next time.